I will do a little demo of a new panel that we call related glyphs and characters. It is here under this little icon on the right hand side, related glyphs and characters. You need to select. So I chose. I just opened a fairly average, mostly Latin retail font from Black Foundry, a Gitto. If you select a glyph, you get relationships. And we have 4 categories of relationships. First off, it looks for glyphs that have the same glyph name, but with a different extension. So here we find under this section, alternative glyphs. Every section can be folded, unfolded. So here in this particular font, we have 4 other glyphs that have the same base glyph. So if I double click on a cell, then I get to see the alternates available for this one. So it will find the base one. Let me go back to the proper one. Alternate glyphs is one relationship. The other relationship is that we look at Unicode decomposition information. Like the whole Unicode database has information like if a character can be represented as a sequence of other characters, then that kind of information, like for instance, the 1/4 Unicode character is decomposed into a 1 and a slash and a 4. And here we see that these characters will be that this character will be one of the decomposed elements from this character. And so this we can kind of the ones that are gray are not defined in this font, but here these fractions are defined here. But if I double click here, then I go to the actual glyph, and we see here some other information, because we also get information about components. So this glyph is made out of 3 components. So the component, the 1 numerator, the fraction, and the 4 numerator. But in terms of character decomposition, we see kind of the same information, almost the same information. Well, it's not quite the same. These are literally the components as defined in the font. So this is based on glyph information, components, and this is again Unicode information. So, for instance, if I double click here, then we see other characters. We can kind of navigate around. So, like this one that is not defined in this font, but would decompose to parentheses, etc. And here, like if I go to the parentheses, we can see all kinds of other Unicode characters that are used with that are generally made with parentheses, including Asian characters. So we can kind of play around. A fun thing to mention, since Fontra is a browser-based application, it tries to leverage the functionality for browser. We can actually use the back and forward button to go back to the previously selected test text. So I'm now going back to, well, for instance here, I wanted to go to a component, because what I didn't yet show is the opposite. Like once we are in a glyph that is being used as a component, we see here within the font, these are the glyphs that actually use this particular character as a component. Let's do this, for instance, with the lowercase a. So here is the lowercase a, and within the font, let me close this one for now. These are the glyphs within this font that use the a as a component. Similarly, so here again, this would be Unicode information, similar but not identical. Like either we look at the glyph level, what is defined within the font, or what kind of relationships exist within Unicode. So this also goes again both ways, etc., etc. A useful aspect, I'm just switching to a different font now. Like for instance, this is a Chinese and Japanese font under development. This particular character is made out of 2 components. But for instance, if I go to this component, I will see, and it takes a little while because it's a big font, but it will see all the characters or the glyphs that actually use this particular component. So we can kind of like navigate around. Let's find another one. Like for instance, this is another component. Well, there's only a handful of these, etc., etc. Maybe this is a more common one. So we'll see kind of the relationships here. Okay, that actually already concludes my demo here. So